The warm glow of chandeliers lit up the elegant dining room of La Cour, a fine dining restaurant known for its exclusivity and impeccable service. Ashley, a well-groomed hostess in her early 30s, stood behind the reservation desk, her sharp eyes scanning the room with practiced precision. She was in the middle of discussing a VIP reservation with a colleague when she noticed a man walk in, Keanu. Her conversation came to an abrupt halt, her eyes locked onto Keanu, scanning him from head to toe with thinly veiled disdain. His scuffed boots, simple attire, and calm demeanor didn't match the high-end clientele she was used to serving. With a subtle, judgmental tilt of her head, she greeted him. "Good evening," Ashley said, her tone flat and clipped, more of a formality than a welcome. "How can I help you?" "Good evening," Keanu replied warmly, his voice steady and polite. "I'd like a table for dinner." Ashley raised an eyebrow as if the request was absurd. Her expression seemed to ask, "How dare you?" "Are you sure you're in the right place?" she asked, arms crossed and her lips curling into a faint smirk. "This is a very exclusive restaurant." Keanu didn't flinch. His calm smile didn't waver. "Yes, I'm sure. I'd like to dine here." Ashley let out a short, derisive laugh. "All right, wait a moment. I'll need to check something." She turned on her heel and strode toward the office, the click of her heels echoing in the quiet room. Once inside, she logged into the reservation system, typing his name with exaggerated keystrokes. When nothing appeared, she rolled her eyes and muttered, "Figures." With a huff, she returned to the desk. "Well, as I suspected, you don't have a reservation," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "We do have a few tables available, but just so you're aware, this isn't the kind of place you just walk into for dinner." Keanu nodded calmly. "I understand. I'd still like to dine here." Her nostrils flared slightly in irritation as she grabbed a menu with exaggerated force. "Fine. Follow me," she said curtly, walking briskly through the dining room without checking if he was behind her. Ashley led Keanu past the beautifully lit tables at the center of the room, where couples laughed softly and glasses of wine glimmered under the golden light. Instead, she took him to the furthest, least appealing corner, a table near the kitchen doors, where the clatter of dishes and muffled conversations of the staff disrupted the otherwise serene ambience. "Here you go," Ashley said, tossing the menu onto the table with a loud thud. "This table should be just right for you, nice and private." Her tone was sweetened with false politeness, the sarcasm thinly veiled. Keanu glanced at the table, then back at Ashley. His calm demeanor and slight smile hadn't changed. "Thank you," he said, his voice steady. Ashley crossed her arms and squinted at him, as if trying to decipher whether his gratitude was genuine or mocking. "You're welcome," she replied with exaggerated courtesy. "Just so you know, these tables are usually reserved for special occasions, but since we're slow tonight, you can sit here." She spun on her heel and walked away without waiting for his response. When Ashley returned to take his order, her disdain was even more palpable. She slapped a notepad onto the table, her icy gaze fixed on Keanu. "Have you decided what you want?" she asked, her voice tinged with impatience. "Or do you need a suggestion?" Keanu scanned the menu calmly and pointed to one of the most expensive dishes. "I'd like to try this," he said. Ashley's lips twitched, suppressing a laugh. "Are you sure?" she asked, her tone dripping with condescension. "That's one of our signature dishes, not exactly casual dining." "Yes, I'm sure," Keanu replied evenly. Ashley scribbled on her notepad with exaggerated motions and walked away, her annoyance barely concealed. From her station, Ashley kept a close eye on Keanu, expecting him to call it quits. She leaned toward a colleague, whispering loudly enough for nearby staff to hear. "I bet he won't last 5 minutes. He'll bolt as soon as he sees the bill." Keanu, however, remained composed. He sipped his water, opened the menu again, and appeared completely at ease despite the less than hospitable treatment. His calmness seemed to unnerve Ashley more than anything. When his food arrived, presented with the same pomp as any other guests, Keanu took a moment to admire the dish before beginning to eat. The staff who brought the food exchanged curious glances as they noticed his poise and quiet confidence. The tension finally came to a head when Ashley returned to clear his plate and present the check. "How was everything?" she asked, her tone almost daring him to criticize the experience. "It was excellent," Keanu replied, handing her the check with his card. "Thank you." Ashley barely glanced at him, swiping his card with an air of indifference. When she returned with the receipt, she froze. Written in elegant handwriting on the slip was a note. "Thank you for your service. I'll be sure to recommend this place." Below the note was a tip that far exceeded the meal's price. Ashley's face flushed as she realized the man she had treated with such disdain had shown her nothing but grace in return. As Keanu stood and prepared to leave, she blurted out, "Wait! Who are you?" Keanu turned, his serene expression unchanged. "Just someone who believes kindness can teach louder lessons than words. Have a good evening." He walked out of the restaurant, leaving Ashley standing there, the weight of her behavior pressing down on her. Around her, whispers began to circulate among the staff and guests who had witnessed the exchange. The next day, Ashley's unkind treatment of Keanu had made its way to social media. A patron seated nearby had recorded the interaction and uploaded it online. The video went viral, drawing widespread criticism of her behavior. The restaurant's management released a statement apologizing to Keanu and promising to address the situation. Ashley, meanwhile, faced the consequences of her actions, learning firsthand the cost of prejudice in a world where every moment could be shared with millions. Moral of the story: kindness can disarm prejudice, and respect transcends appearances.